Hey, good morning, guys. It's Friday. I'm off work today, and we'll see if we can get anybody to come join our live show this morning. A few people coming in already. It's good to see you guys. Everybody, go watch Brad this morning over on the Big Family Homestead. You watch his morning devotion. Looks like he made a pretty big announcement. They're going to start a new channel, so maybe we'll get a few people to switch over from his show. Well, guys, it's just me here this morning. I don't have any kids here today. They're all at school, and got up and went hunting this morning. And wish I had some pictures. I video everything when I'm hunting, But I had a big buck come in this morning. I was just bow hunting, and he never came within about any closer than about 100 yards. So just got back in the house about let's see, it's 10 o'clock, about 30 minutes ago. And man, I'm telling you what, it's it's end of November. I'm sorry, end of October in Oklahoma. It's still just flat hot. This morning it was about 60 degrees outside, but right now it's up to about 75, and it'll be close to 90 today. So the evenings are just hard to hunt right now this time of year, or just this year. It's so hot right now. So looks like I got a few people joining in. So I don't really have anything planned this morning necessarily. I have a few things I might want to talk about a little bit. I My schedule's fixing to kind of rotate from October into November to where I'm not sure if Friday mornings at 10 o'clock I'm going to be here. It's going to be kind of hit or miss. I'm going to try to be here as many of the days as I can, but the way my schedule's set up next month, it's going to be tough. So just keep that in mind. I'm not doing away with my live show right now. Still part of the Homestead Network, and I want to do that. I'm not sure Friday mornings next month are going to be doable. So we'll see how it goes, and it kind of depends on my schedule from week to week. Simply Circus managed to take out 2 coyotes this week, but no deer. How many deer have you killed this week? I mean, this year, man. You've killed several, I think. Seems like I might have heard you say you killed 4 total. Papa Truck says still too hot here in Florida. Doesn't it stay that way? Isn't that the joy of living in Florida? It's just kind of maybe 2 seasons out of the year, not a 4-season state. This back to the hunting thing this morning. There was lots of does moving. The deer are moving, and the bucks are starting to chase the does around just a little bit. That buck I saw this morning was bumping a doe around, and kind of, I mean, he wasn't actively chasing her, but I think he was getting kind of interested. So we should be getting, within a week or two, maybe, about 2 weeks, we should be hitting the rut in Oklahoma, which will fire up the deer big time and make the hunting a lot more fun. Simply Circus has killed 2 so far. Okay, some reason I thought you said you'd killed 4, and I don't know why. David Williams says, hi from Virginia. Cool mornings and hot days here. We're hoping for colder weather before muzzleloader season starts next Saturday. It's muzzleloader season here in Oklahoma right now, but I've just been bow hunting. I haven't even got my muzzleloader out. I just wanted to bow hunt. Record highs in Georgia. We're pretty close to record highs here. I think there's a few days we're within just a couple degrees. I think this weekend is supposed to be pushing 90, which will be pretty close to a record high. Let's see. No rut there yet. Where you at, Jay Wallace? You got 1 deer, but no rut there yet either. I hadn't really talked to anybody that's got any deer in rut. I would have thought the northern states would be pretty hot and heavy right now, but I don't know. I hadn't talked to a whole lot of guys very far up north. Big Bears rifle season in Georgia already. I saw your video last week? Yeah, about a week ago. It was a live video. You were in your deer stand with your bow, and I was actually sitting in my deer blind. It was youth season then, so I was out there with Emily. But I noticed you were bow hunting during rifle season. Um, and that bow hunting stuff just gets in your blood, it's hard to shake it. It's so much fun. But once rifle season rolls around in Oklahoma, I usually start rifle hunting. Farmer Meemaw, hello from Arkansas. It's good to see you, Meemaw. Glad you're here. Jay Wallace, not seeing scrapes or many rubs. I haven't seen hardly any rubs, but I do have several scrapes, and that buck this morning was making a scrape in a tree, um, and it's a real active scrape. I've seen several little bucks using it quite a bit, but it's no rubs though. I hadn't really seen many rubs. Illinois, Jay Wallace is in Illinois. Man, that's a deer hunter's paradise up there, isn't it? Well, anyways, I don't want to sit here and talk about deer hunting all morning. Deer season's been slow here. Not many people killing deer, but uh, you know, man, YouTube's a funny thing. It's a cool world, and I love this community of people that we've got going, even with the Homestead Network and just my channel in general. And it's just a neat experience to see. And a couple weeks ago, I posted that 2,000 subscriber giveaway. I guess it's been 2 weeks. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just been a week. I have to go back and look. But I was waiting on all of my beef to come back from the processor, and I posted a video this morning. If you guys haven't seen it, and you go check it out. I got all my beef back yesterday. Got the freezer full. I got 910 pounds of beef, and there's so much meat there. It just blows my mind how much meat you get off of a cow. Um, but if you guys aren't able or have the ability, I tell you what, if you can raise your own animals and have them slaughtered and eat that, feed your family with that food, I'm telling you what, there's just no connection to your food when you go buy meat at the grocery store. Man, it's a totally different world. It just changes the way you view the animal and the way you view your food. One thing for me, anyways, I know is, and when we butcher an animal, especially one that we've raised, that we've cared for a long time, and say we cook a meal and there's leftovers, it's hard to throw away that extra food. You find a way to use it, that to where when it seems like it comes from the grocery store, it's just so easy that, if you're not really into that meal, it's so easy just to push it aside and throw it in the refrigerator and then throw it out. And I'm telling you what, when it's an animal that you've raised and cared for, it just changes your respect for your food and where it came from and the life that it lived, and it's hard to let any of that stuff go to waste. Um, Mother of many horses finally made it. Yeah, you did. Usually you come in right at the end, don't you? Uh, so we got Willie back from the processor, and Houston's a little skeptical about it. He's just 4, and you'll see in the video he's kind of trying to grasp this concept of Willie the cow and meat in the freezer, and I don't think he quite bridges that gap of it's the same stuff. So I'm trying to explain to him what's going on. He thinks, he saw the video of Willie, leaving in the trailer, and I explained to him what was going on, but I think he just sees it as, oh, we're just moving Willie somewhere else and we'll go see her. So we'll see how this plays out, but he knows, I told him Willie got butchered and Willie's going in the freezer, and he just kind of looked at me like, what, and then he, in the video you'll see it. He's like, did you cook Willie? And well, not yet, but we're going to, and he's just not sure about it. So we'll see how it goes. Um, but yeah, we got a freezer full of meat. So I got all my steaks in. We've got some T-bones. Those T-bones are just huge, just ginormous, and some ribeyes and I went blank, not New York strip, a filet mignon. So I'm gonna try to get a video put together today and get it posted on the 2,000 subscriber giveaway. I found a website, a couple different websites where you can just go in and copy the link to your video, and it'll randomly pick one of the comments. So everybody that's commented in there is entered into that drawing, and I'll try to video that, and we'll get us a winner picked out, and I'll contact them and see if we can get the steaks in the mail. So if you haven't entered into that drawing, we haven't done the drawing yet, but I'm planning on doing it later today. So if you haven't, go check out that video of Willie. I'm sorry, not of Willie, of the 2,000 subscriber giveaway, and we're going to give away some steaks. And if I can get everything packaged up, I've got a little styrofoam box that we're going to put the steaks in with some dry ice, and I'm going to package up a jar of green beans, and we'll get some big baked potatoes, and we'll ship everything right to you. And it's a steak dinner on us. So Sharon says those bones would make some delicious broth. I did recommend, or I did shoot that idea out there to my wife. She makes a lot of soups and stews and things in the wintertime. um, we've got, man, there's probably 20 pounds of those bones, and I told her we could make some really good beef broth out of it. So we may do some of that. I don't know. Uh, we could can some of that up, and I think it'd be a lot better than what you get in the store. So we'll see. I don't know if she kind of talked about it a little bit. I just don't know if we're just so busy right now. This time of year is busy, but we'll see. But you're right, it would make some really good beef broth. But I think I could probably get as many of those bones as I want. Now, they may not all come from my cow that I process, because we set back a couple bags. But I guarantee you I could walk in there and just ask, and she'd probably cut me up as many of those bones as I wanted. It's kind of like when we made our video of rendering lard. I just went to the butcher and said, hey, can I get some pig fat? And it's like 50 cents a pound. Um, she just sell it to me for 50 cents a pound. And I could get basically all I wanted. So she's a really good local business that works with you, and she doesn't gouge you on any prices or anything, and it's a good situation. Yeah, Grizz, it's a lot of meat. You said that's a hell of a locker of beef you got. Yeah, it is. It's a lot. And like I said in the video, the last one that we processed was about 300 pounds lighter, and that was 2 years ago. And we've still got a little bit left over, um, so it should last us quite a while. Jay Wallace says, "How many points and score of that non-typical on your wall?" Give me just a few minutes. We'll get finished talking about the beef and the giveaway and all that, and then I'll just pick my computer up and walk you over there and show it to you. Because for several weeks, everybody always wants to know about those deer behind me. So I'll take them over there. Take you over there and show them to you. Uh, Gris says, I'm not fond of beef. I prefer game meat, but that was an impressive locker. I grew up on deer and wild pigs and things like that. And, that was just, I grew up out here in the woods, and my mom passed away when I was young. So it was me and my dad for a long time. And man, we just lived on deer meat, and I thought that was normal. And after I got married, my wife wasn't a big fan of it, so we kind of switched over to more beef. And you kind of your taste buds change, and I still like the deer meat, and she does too in certain things. But sometimes she just doesn't like it, depending on the recipe and what we're cooking. But once you get that taste for deer and elk and all that stuff, it's hard to get away from. It's good stuff once you get used to it. But a lot of people just look at, they get hamburger meat from a deer or elk or whatever it is, and they're just thinking hamburger meat, beef, and it doesn't taste like beef. It's totally different than beef, and you have to cook it different than beef. So there's a little bit of a difference there. And when someone's just going, "Oh, this is going to taste the same," no, it's not. It's a little different. Island Homesteader says bone broth. Bone broth is incredibly healthy too. Lots of health benefits is what I meant. I've never really researched it much. We may have to do that. Those bones they're leg bones and they're huge, so they're just almost they come from the butcher, so the meat is almost completely picked off. But there's a lot of bone marrow in there, so it would be I don't know if it'd be too much bone marrow or not. So I may have to do some research on that. Gris says you still have one freezer available. You can start harvesting the neighbor's cats. Man, we're so far out here in the sticks, we don't have many neighbors. There's, our closest neighbor is probably half a mile away, and she may have a few cats that come along our driveway, but we don't have many. Nearly Organic says it takes experimenting to get that gamey taste out. Yeah, it does. It just you just got to know how to prepare it. You got to know how to there's a lot of preparation that goes into post harvest before from the time it goes from a dead animal on the ground until it goes in the freezer. And if you don't take care of it right, that game flavor, that game taste is hard to get rid of. C. Dean says, hi, all sorry I'm late. You're not late. Oh, we've only been on here a few minutes, so you're good. We're still going, man. Sharon says, if you do make bone broth, add a dash of apple cider vinegar. It pulls all the goodness out of the bones. I'll have to remember that. I'm going to have to research the bone broth thing and see what we can come up with. Like I said, I've never made it, so what do we got to lose? We got all the bones for free. Gris says, if you don't like that gamey meat, then don't hunt. Just eat beef. Well, there's a difference in the to me there's the way the deer taste and the deer meat tastes a certain way, and then a really strong gamey taste if it's not taken care of. I think that meat, if it's not prepared correctly and if it's not treated right before it goes in the freezer, it can really intensify and ruin the flavor of the meat. Grizz says cats here have been placed on the endangered species list. All right, so I'm gonna walk over here and show you all those deer heads because it seems like every week somebody makes a comment about those deer heads back there. So I'm gonna go show them to you real quick. So I've got several deer mounted over the years. It may be a little dark in here. So on the wall where my TV's at, this deer here was my dad's. He killed this deer in the early 80s. It's just kind of a memento of my dad. Since he passed away, I just leave it in here. This one, is about a 140-inch 9-point that I killed when I was about 19 on a big ranch. He didn't come from here, but these three are my favorite. Try to get out of the picture here. You have to bear with me, guys. It's kind of hard to get this to work because I know there's a delay. So you were asking about the big non-typical over here on the end. He's a 17 point, scored like 165. I shot him with a muzzleloader. Probably 6 years ago here on this property. And then this one over here, the one on this end, the 10 point, perfect typical 10 point. He doesn't score real high. He's a nice deer, real wide. I shot him here actually in the same stand as I did the big non-typical. And he's about 140, 145 inch typical mainframe 10 point. And then this one in the middle, this wild crazy thing here, Weston actually killed that deer when that was Weston's second deer. So he's probably 9 years old when he killed this deer. I really don't know what he scores because he's just got such a crazy rack. Try to take you around him. He's just like two big old tree trunks. on top of his head. There you go. Different angles. I don't know what that deer scored. Um, Probably not super high. He's got a lot of mass, but he just doesn't have much tine length. But it's just a cool non-typical. Let me catch up on some comments because I know I'm way behind on the comments now. Hey, Revelation, you didn't miss the show. You're just a few minutes behind. I was just showing off my deer heads. It seems like every week somebody asks about them. So that middle deer there that, well, let's see. I'll never be able to point straight at it. I can't see. Um, that middle deer that Weston killed is a cool looking deer. And I'll tell you the story behind that deer. I bow hunted all season that year. I say all season. Youth rifle season is when, let's see, let me think. No, he killed that deer during the regular rifle season. So I bow hunted for about 2 months out of this same stand and never seen that deer, never even knew he existed. And the day before rifle season started, the evening before, I bow hunted, and that deer walks out at about 200 yards. And I'd never seen the deer, didn't even know he was alive. And he popped out about 200 yards. Of course, I'm bow hunting, and never could get a shot at him, but I had it on video, so I took it home. And rifle season started the next day, and Weston said, "Oh, that's my deer. I'm killing that deer. I'm killing that deer." And sure enough, man, the next morning, it's the first day of rifle season. Weston hadn't got to hunt much at all yet. He was too young to bow hunt, and we go out, and that video is on my YouTube channel. You have to go way back, but that video is on there. I have it. And Weston, man, 30 minutes after daylight, maybe, that buck walks out in perfect bow range. If I was bow hunting, he shoots this deer with a rifle at 20 yards maybe, and the deer runs about 100 yards and falls over, and that was his second deer he had ever killed. But yeah, I've got that video on my YouTube channel, so you'll have to go back and watch it, check it out. It was an awesome deer, awesome experience, a really old deer. Cliff V says, "Did y'all get hail with that storm?" Here at our house, no. It was mostly rain. It was a crazy little storm that popped up 2 nights ago on Wednesday evening. Man, we got probably 2 inches of rain in about 30 minutes, and my driveway got just trashed. It just washed the gravel away from my driveway. It was just a massive flood for about 30 minutes. We had a little bit of hail, not a lot. I would say nothing bigger than about pea or marble size hail. But about 30 minutes away in a town about 30 miles east of here, excuse me guys, they got hail big time. I don't know if they even got much rain at all. That storm blew through there, and there was probably 3 inches of hail on the ground. It looked like it snowed. There was pictures on the news and pictures all over Facebook. It was just a solid layer of hail, nothing big, but just hail everywhere. Here, like I said, it was a small storm, didn't last very long, but it did a lot of damage with about 70, 75 mile an hour winds for about 20 minutes. And one of my neighbors, he built a barn this summer, just a little small hay barn, and it blew it completely away. I've showed you guys what my place looks like several times in videos, and it's all timber here, and there's just tree limbs down everywhere. I've got so much to clean up, but it didn't do any damage. We didn't have any damage to any property here, but some of my neighbors, like I said, one of them lost a barn, and several had trees fall close to their house and things like that. But we didn't lose power. Now, I was talking to my processor, my meat processor, when I went and picked up my beef, and she lost power at the processing plant there for maybe an hour or so. But there were some people around town that lost power due to trees falling on power lines and stuff. Storms are getting worse. Elena says storms are getting worse. You think just overall, just storms are getting more powerful? Um, I don't know. That was just kind of a freak deal that came through. I mean, it was just a small storm. But it was mostly just the wind that did damages around here. It's just not that uncommon for those kind of storms to come through our area in Oklahoma. Typically, they're in the spring, when we have the tornadoes and everything. Sharon Brown says our log house is in the middle of trees. When we built the house at the farm, we make sure there were no trees. Man, it's a hard situation. I love being down here in the trees because it's shaded and the yard, it's cooler in the summertime around our house because of the trees, and our house stays cooler, which keeps our electric bill lower. But then when you got solid timber, I mean, I'll show you outside my house. It's overexposed, but it'll come down. There you go. It's just all trees here. And the problem that creates for me, anyways, is the cleanup in the fall. There's so many leaves. I mean, it's just, you can't just rake the leaves out of your yard here because within 10 minutes they're, all blown back in from everywhere. So it's a chore. So I kind of understand where you're coming from there. But man, I kind of like having the trees around for the shade. Elena says more powerful storms to come. Gria says we used to lose power for 2 weeks at a time. Now it's never off for more than 4 hours. Man, I hope we don't lose power for 2 weeks. We've only lost power for that long a few times in my lifetime here, and it's never because of just a storm like that. When we lose power for extended amounts of time, it's an ice storm. We don't get a lot of snow here in southern Oklahoma. We'll get a couple snowstorms a year and get maybe 2, 3, 4 inches at a time, but it's gone within a day or two. But our biggest risk here is not the snowstorms; it's ice storms where you just get that freezing rain that's just right, or the temperature's just right below freezing, but it's raining, and that rain just freezes to everything and causes everything to get heavy. Tree limbs get heavy and start breaking, and power lines get broke, and that's when we lose power for extended amounts of time. Jay Wallace says, me too, just like that, a leaf blower and a fire. It's exactly what I do. I take a leaf blower and blow the leaves just right out of the yard where I mow right here. I blow them away from the house, and then I just start burning them. I burn leaves for weeks in the wintertime. Brenda Collins said, "Are you going to watch the Oklahoma State football game this weekend?" No, I no, I have to work, so probably not. I have to work Saturday. I may take off Sunday, but Saturday when college football is on, I'll be at work, so probably not. Elena says our generator saved us with our frozen food. Telling you what, I'm glad I have a generator with all that beef I have in the freezer now, just in case. But like I was saying a while ago, the times that we've lost power for extended amounts of time, it was during an ice storm, and my freezers are out in my garage. So the times when we lose power for an ice storm, most of the time you can just open the garage doors, and it's so cold outside that the freezers, you don't have to worry about the freezers. Everything will stay frozen in there forever because it's cold outside. C. Dean says, use leaves and back to Eden garden or in a compost bin. You know, I don't. I tried a back to Eden garden for a little while. I guess I probably didn't try it for long enough because it takes a couple of years to really get that going. But I've got a leaf blower that's got a shredder on it also, and I said I'll blow all the leaves away from the house, but the ones that are up close to the house, a lot of times I'll vacuum with the leaf blower. I'll vacuum up, shred them, and then I take that and put that straight on my garden in the late winter. Before I get ready to start tilling, I'll put a whole bunch of leaves on my garden, and it's not a back to Eden. They get tilled in, but it still adds the carbon and the nutrients to my garden. Jay Wallace just got some gutter guards. Hope they help. I get tired of cleaning leaves out of the gutters. I'm telling you what, that's a full-time job when you live in the trees. I actually don't have gutters on my house at all right now. I need to get them put back on, but had to redo all the fascia board because the last gutters rotted it out. Um, so I don't have gutters right now, and you can tell in my yard where the water runs off the house and makes a mess. Mother of Many Horses says I'm seriously considering getting a propane generator. I'm telling you what, I'd love to have one as like a backup generator that automatically came on and ran my whole house. What I've got now is just a portable generator, and basically I don't have it wired up to where I can just plug it into my house. And so I just run some extension cords and run a few things that run the refrigerator and a few lights and things like that if I need to, because typically we don't lose power for very long. So, is it really justifiable spending thousands of dollars on a automatic backup generator when it rarely gets used? I don't know. Grizz says leaves make some of the best compost, and if you live in rain country, after tilling your garden up in the fall, cover it with leaves so that the winter rain doesn't compact the soil. Um, I I hadn't posted a video lately on my garden because there's not a whole lot going on down there, but I plant my garden in a cover crop in the fall, just like my deer plots. I usually use leftover food plot seed, so it's wheat, oats, rye, turnips, all kinds of stuff. I plant it in a cover crop to cover the soil, so I really don't want to put leaves over all the top of that because I really like the cover crop. I let it grow up, and in the spring I till all that green cover crop back in. So Eh, you can do go either way. I guess I use a green instead of brown leaves. I use the green um, plants. Mother of Many Horses, y'all were still talking about your generators. She says propane doesn't go bad like gas, and you're right, and that would be my deal if I was going to get an automatic backup generator. I would definitely want to go with propane because that propane will hold up a lot longer, and I'd be concerned. An automatic generator that's gas, you're going to have to go out there and burn through that gas every few months just to keep it, running. Otherwise, you'll have old bad gas that'll turn bad and clog up your carburetors and all that stuff. So I agree with you there. Sharon Brown, after Isabel, you lost power for almost 3 weeks. That's crazy. That's a long time to go without power. Gary says it's expensive to wire a generator up to auto start when the power goes off. If done incorrectly, you blow power transformers. Yeah, I believe that. But around here, several people that I know that have had an automatic start generator, it's professionally installed by an electrician. So I wouldn't try to do that myself. I don't know near enough about electricity, so I wouldn't do that. But you know, you can get an electrician to hook it up right. And I've never heard of anybody around here having a problem with blowing their transformer when their generator comes on. Um, Sharon, you have 2,000 gallons of propane, two 500-gallon tanks, and one 1,000. That's a lot of propane. I guess it's good to have on hand if you're going to be out of power for 3 weeks. Um, we just have one propane tank, but I don't. Our house, we heat with wood, and we've got an electric central heat and air. But I've also, we've got one propane heater in the back of the house, but we've got one 500-gallon tank. The only thing that's pulling off of it's one little small heater. Um, so, gosh, it'll last us forever. But I'd like to run some more lines to where I have some extra propane heaters in the house if I need them. Cliff, have they caught Vance the shooter yet? No. Um, that's a whole nother subject, and I will talk about that. Let me catch up on all the comments and finish this propane generator talk, and then I'll talk about that. Rhonda Bowdy, just wanted to say a quick hello from sunny Florida. Well, hello to you too. I wish I was in Florida. I love it down there. I say that every week on here. I think I love Florida. It's a great place. Ellen, if you heard a bird, it was probably that clock. My daughter's got a clock that goes off every so many minutes. It's got different birds chirp every, I don't know, 30 minutes or something, and that's probably what you heard in the background. Unless you're hearing that, then you are hearing birds outside. I don't know if that's loud enough for you to hear. I can hear it, but I think you probably heard the clock. Nearly Organic says we use a generator hooked to the PTO of our tractor. One tank lasts about 12 hours. It powers the entire house, including AC, hot water, etc. I've looked into those, and I actually thought that would be a great way to go because I've got a big tractor and I can store diesel, and I just haven't found one at a decent price. And if I run across one at an estate sale or an auction or something, that's probably something I would definitely look into. They seem to be really good little generators. Okay, so back to that comment earlier. Cliff says, have they caught Vance the shooter yet? And the answer to that is no. And those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, let's see. Today's Friday. Monday night, we had an incident here in Oklahoma, and a guy basically just twisted off, and I think he basically went and shot two family members, got in a shootout with law enforcement, shot two police officers, and they actually shot him, but didn't look, at least on video, it didn't look to be a serious injury. And he stole a car, and then he tried to steal an RV later that night. Basically, the last known sighting of him was in western Oklahoma at a truck stop where he tried to steal, I guess is where he tried to steal the RV. Um, and no one's seen him since. So that was Monday night. And Tuesday, he started posting Facebook Live videos talking about, um, talking about, yeah, it was Tuesday. He was posting Facebook Live videos talking about, I take that back. Maybe that was Monday. Either way, I get mixed up on my days. The day after he was involved in the shooting, he starts posting Facebook Live videos talking about this hit list he's got and all the people he's going to go kill and all this terrible, terrible stuff. Um, and then he disappears. So they start taking all the people on his hit list and going finding them and putting them in protective custody. Um, and then basically the whole state. is out looking for this guy. Sharon Brown says, "Are the officers okay? The two that were involved in the shooting, I don't know how serious their wounds were, but neither one of them were hurt too bad. I don't think either one of them were life-threatening gunshots. Um, so this guy basically goes out, murders a couple people, gets in a shootout with police, tries to steal an RV, steals a car, and then disappears. Next day, starts posting Facebook Live videos with a hit list and all this stuff. So basically, they took our whole state and put us on high alert, looking for certain vehicle descriptions. And we had to spend several days driving through, looking at every truck stop, every park, every rest area, just trying to find this guy because he basically just disappeared, which was really odd because you take somebody who's gone just twisted off and gone crazy and been as vocal as he was about what he was going to do and his plans, they just don't disappear. So there basically been no news since he quit posting those Facebook Live videos. So we're not sure if he's just gone and hid and he's hiding out from law enforcement, or if the gunshots were actually more serious than they looked on the video, or he might have killed himself. We don't know. We have no idea where this guy has gone. So it's been a crazy week here in Oklahoma. It's been all over the news, and I'll tell you what, it's made for an interesting week at work for sure. Jay Walker, man, good to see you. Jay Wallace says, I was going to build a log home on my farm, but wanted maintenance free. Log homes take a lot of work. Yes, they do. Sharon says, at least posting his hit list will help provide safety for those in the list. Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. Once he started posting videos talking about who he was going to kill and all that, law enforcement went and found all those people as best they could, rounded everybody up, and you know, put them in protective custody. But situations like this are just bad. They're just bad all around for everybody, and it is what it is, and it makes for a stressful time at work and a stressful time for everybody. Just because you don't know where that person's at or what they're going to do next, they may walk in, a huge shopping center and just start killing people, or they may just start randomly, trying to be seen and try to take as many people with them as they can. But it's things like that make law enforcement stressful, and things like that happen, and they cause. So like this week, my kids are really involved in sports and have a lot of activities going on, and I missed 4 days worth of my kids' activities because I couldn't. Typically with my job, working as a state trooper, we're allowed a lot of freedoms to go to events with your family as long as they're in your area. So I can go to ball games and church and all that while I'm working. But with things like this incident going on, I missed four separate events that were important to my family. Weston's last football game, his last junior high football game, was Tuesday, and I couldn't go. And Emily had a softball game Monday night, and I was just not, I was 15 miles away, but I couldn't go because I had to be on the interstate looking for this guy. And you know, it's it makes it increases the stress in the job. And I do enjoy my job, and I'm not complaining about my job by any means. Don't take it as that. And there's different kinds of stress. You got the stress of dealing with people like this Vance guy that's just going out and randomly murdering people. Um, but then you have the stress of the home life that it takes away from. I mean, an incident like this takes away from your home life, and the way my schedule got moved around and my kids' schedules, I basically didn't see my wife and kids for more than about 10 minutes a day all week. And it's kind of like today now, everybody's at work and school and I'm at home, but I'm off work today and they'll be home later. But there was a lot of days there happens, it gets situations where there's a lot of days where, um, you know, I'm working an evening shift and everybody's at work and in school. And then I go to work about the time they're getting done and I get off work after everybody goes to bed. So, and then situations like this intensify the stress. So, anyways, not complaining about it. Alana says people are getting crazier by the day. I do agree. I do agree. Brenda Collins said those he shot, were they family members? Yes. From the best of my understanding, I don't know exactly how close or what kind of family members they were, but I'm pretty sure they were family members. And then he was going to be targeting like an ex-wife and her new husband, maybe, or ex-girlfriend and new husband. Um, it's crazy. Grizz says, I can see why some people want to kill the cops, and I can see why cops go to extremes as well. We live in some bad times with corruption on both sides. Yes, and yeah, it is what it is. Mother of Many Horses says, does Weston understand? He's 14. I think he does understand, but it still doesn't take away from the disappointment that that's just those are activities that go on in my kid's life that I feel like I need to be there for. And I understand I'm going to miss some ball games, and that's fine. I mean, that's just part of what I do. But there's just times when it's been 4 days since you've spent more than 10 minutes with your kids, and man, that yeah, the 14-year-old, he understands, but that doesn't make it okay. That doesn't make it all right. I I'm a big YouTube fan, and I watch a lot of people on YouTube, and I really watch people like Justin Rhodes. If you watch Justin Rhodes, that guy's unbelievable. But I'm really envious sometimes of their lifestyle. Somebody like Justin and his wife and kids. It just, and I know you're only seeing part of the picture, but they both stay at home right now. And I know he talks about he used to work a full time job, but their kids are all homeschooled and they're tight knit. They're close. They get to spend a lot of time together. In certain times of the year, my wife and kids and I get a lot of time together. And then there's certain times of the year that it's just we don't. I don't, and I hate that. I don't like it. And I've talked about that like with Houston going back or Houston starting school. Um, you know, I made an agreement with the school. He's in a pre-K program. He's, and what he's in right now is not critical. They don't really do grades and attendance policies and things like that. I told him, I said, listen, I we're starting him a little early, and it's my wife hasn't worked. She's been a stay-at-home mom for almost 9 years. Well, it was over 9 years, and there's times where I'm gonna be off work during the week, and I want to see my family. And Houston's new in school, and we're just sending him just to give him a boost, a head start. And there's so like yesterday, he didn't go to school just because I was off work, and I want him to stay at home with me. And there's a lot other. It's harder to do as they get older. I get that, but as a 4-year-old who's in school, I don't feel guilty about keeping him at home with me and doing other things sometimes. Mother of Many Horses says, general public does not generally understand the stress of being a police officer. No, they don't. And public perception of law enforcement is is bad right now. It's not a good situation, and it's mostly just because of the media, I think. And I don't know what to do about that. And I think it's a long term situation to try to build that trust with, because there's been so many situations. But I think the media has put law enforcement in such a negative light over the past few years that I'm not trying to blame it on anybody, but I think that's where a lot of the issues come from. Grizz, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you there. Grizz says, Sharon, I've never resisted, I've never lipped off or do anything a cop uh, to give a cop an excuse to get rough with me. I do not have a criminal record. I have been drugged from my pickup and I have been beat with brass knuckles. And I'm sorry for that. I apologize. And like I say, not everyone in law enforcement deserves to be there. Not everyone in law enforcement should be there. And it's just a, you know, nature of the beast. The job I do has a lot of training, and you just can't walk in off the street and become a trooper. But there are lots of smaller agencies, smaller departments that can't hold people to the same higher standards, and basically just need officers, and they're struggling to hire officers. So in Oklahoma, the way the laws are, a lot of these small departments they're allowed to hire somebody right off the street. They walk in, they've got 6 months to get certified before they've got 6 months before the department has to send them to be certified and go through training. So you get people that walk in off the street and they're just it's a weird situation. I don't agree with the way that it's set up, and that's why I really like what I do. We've got a 4 month long, well, it's actually 5 month long training academy now that you start before you ever get a uniform. You have to go through the academy, and then you've got 12 weeks of on job training with another officer in the car with you. So there's a lot of training that goes in before you're allowed to go do the job. So, all right, guys, I'm way behind on my comments here. Let me scroll down. Tangi's here. I didn't know you were on here. The first time I saw your comment says, "Hi Sharon." I didn't even know you were on here. Maybe I just missed you. Island Homesteader says, been an EMT for almost 20 years. My schedule has changed some in the past couple of years, but for most of that 20 years, I worked 24 on, 48 off, so I've missed almost a third of their lives. And that's the way our fire departments are ran around here mostly, is they work 24 on, 48 off, and it's tough, man. That schedule, shift work and schedule like that is just tough on a family. Chris says, yes, cops have a rough job. It does not excuse a bad behavior from cops. Unfortunately, bad cops, as few as they are the ones that are most seen. Yeah, I agree, they are, and that's just the ones that make the news, and that's what sells in the media. When you get somebody in law enforcement that does something good, it doesn't sell in the media. The media doesn't go for it. That doesn't make a good story. So when somebody is in that position of power and they mess up, the media jumps all over it. So of course that's why you see them, because that's what the media targets. They don't target a police officer that goes out, and does all the good they do. Tangy. If someone messes with you, Daniel, they'll have to mess with all of us. Have to deal with all of us. Well, yeah, that's true. I appreciate that, and that's awesome. You're just pretty scattered around the country, but I do appreciate it. Gria says, Mr. Arms, I don't blame you or the cops. Just saying, I understand both sides. Hey, it's just a conversation here. I'm not getting upset with anybody. Grizz, I understand. I see bad people in law enforcement, and I've worked in an area where police officers and deputies have gone to jail and gone to prison for things they've done while they were working, and it's a bad situation. Tangy says there's so much division in our nation right now, more than I've seen in my life. It feels like we've gone backwards instead of forward. I do agree. I agree with you completely. There's just so many so many things, so many people drawing a line between people in our country. The whole, I'm not. I don't talk political stuff. I don't get into politics. Um, our political situation draws a huge line in the sand. The Black Lives Matter, that whole scenario draws a huge line in between the people of our country. Anyways, uh, active mom question: when you were at Danny and Wanda's, they mentioned something about Daniel Boone. Are you related to Daniel Boone? Okay, so no. Danny and Wanda, a road in their area is called Boone Road. And my name is Daniel. My full name's Daniel David Arms. But my dad, like I said earlier, I grew up in the country. I grew up in the sticks, out in the woods. And my dad nicknamed me Boone after Daniel Boone. And when I was a little kid, he always had me in one of those coonskin hats. And it was just my nickname growing up was Boone. And so everybody around here, all the people that have known me most of my life, call me Boone. It's just a nickname that stuck. Well, my wife always gives me a hard time because my dad was quite a bit older. He was 40. He was 40 when I was born. So when I was in high school, my dad's close to 60, and he was a fence builder. He had a small business building fence, so we built fence on all the ranches around here. So I knew all the older people. And so the old people, I'm well respected with the older community, just because they've known me my whole life. They know my dad, and so my wife gives me a hard time all the time because when we go somewhere, all the older folks, 70 plus, they just know me, and because I grew up building fence on their property and things like that. And so my wife had a shirt made for me that says Boone, the man, the myth, the legend, just as a joke. Well, I just so happened to have that shirt on the day we went to Danny and Wanda's. Well, there's a big sign on the road that says Boone Road right by their house, and my shirt says Boone, the man, the myth, the legend. So it was just kind of a funny thing. Let's see. Sharon Brown says the media has become corrupt, in my opinion. I, I think there's a lot of things that have become corrupt in our nation. Revelation Homestead. The fact that we're all scattered is more reason for them to be very scared, be very afraid. Tangy, Daniel, I know people think Godfather. I know people. Simply Circus says, I got sucked into your hunting playlist, lol. I love the Final Descent stuff. Hey, man, I'm glad you liked that. If you hadn't gone to the actual Final Descent YouTube page, a lot of the previous season's episodes are on there, but it takes about a year after the season, you know, before they're on YouTube because we're not a YouTube based show. We're based on the Pursuit channel, so you've got to get through the whole airing season plus all the reruns before you can post that stuff on YouTube. So it'll be a while before this year's episodes get put um, on YouTube. But all the previous season, there's several episodes from the previous years on there. So if you hadn't gone to actual Final Descent's YouTube page, check it out. There's a lot more episodes on there. The ones on my channel and my playlist are just ones that me or Weston or whatever we're in. So, but anyways, I'm glad you liked it though. I can't keep up with the comments, guys. I just read slow. I guess I get caught up and I forget to scroll down and catch up on the comments. Brenda Collins says, I'll be so happy when the election is over. Where I live, local TV covers 3 states, and we get all for commercials is slur from every state. I've never seen an election that was based a slur campaign. It's bad. I'm ready for it to be over too. All right, guys, it's after 11. I've been on here for over an hour, so I think I'm going to wind this thing down. I've got a lot of stuff I need to try to get done today. I haven't been able to uh, get anything done around here today. I went hunting this morning and come in and ate breakfast, and then got on here to talk to you guys. So I'm over I'm over an hour. I try to shoot for an hour and get off of here because I can sit here and mumble along and talk to you guys all morning. But I'm gonna wind this thing down, and unless anybody's got anything else going on or anything to say. Mother Many Horses, I wasn't ignoring your comment. I just saw that breaking news: another train crash in PA. This is getting old. Apparently, has there been several? I don't watch a whole lot of national news because everything right now is political, campaign, presidential election stuff. So Simply Circus. Back when we had cable, 3 hunting channels were stayed on the screen. Drove the wife crazy for a bit, but now she watches as much hunting as I do, or as me. It was the same way here when we had Dish Network. My wife just kind of knew that was what was on and had a DVR and recorded all the shows that I couldn't watch at the time. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna get off of here, and you guys have a great day. I'm gonna try to get a video put together for my 2,000 subscriber giveaway. I'm gonna try to get that done today, and hopefully I'll get that posted this evening or first thing in the morning. Um, so we'll get that picked up. Cliff says, remember to save postage if I win the drawing, yeah, because you're gonna come make me cook that steak. All right, guys. I will talk to you guys next week on the live show, hopefully, if my work schedule allows for it. If not, I apologize if I'm not here. So, Active Mom, I'll answer your your question real quick. Active Mom says, well, okay, cool. I was wondering because you say you love Pensacola. My great grandmother was a Boone, and we are in Pensacola. So I was just curious. No, it's Boone's just a nickname. It's not a given name. So no relation to anything there. Just a nickname. All right, guys. You have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.